Hi, I'm Neil Fu on Neil Fu Talks. Today I'm going to continue about a different Chinese. Today is 1st of February 2020. It's the 8 days of Chinese New Year in Malaysia. So today will be a great day, a busy day, especially with the dialect so-called Fujian. Fujian dialect, they would have a special celebration during this Chinese New Year. So this tonight, you will see a lot of praying in front of the houses as well as firecrackers. There will be a very busy and noisy night and a lot of excitement. So let me continue about a different Chinese that I've been talking about Malaysia, China, Taiwan, Hong Kong. Let me talk about Singapore. Singapore, there are so many Chinese. Predominantly, the races in Singapore population are Chinese. That with 75% of ratio. Of course, the Chinese there in Singapore was separated by Malaya at that time, or Malaysia rather. So they form their own country with the majority of the race are Chinese. And Singapore Chinese are very international, that they have become a hub in ASEAN with logistic, with finance, even with manufacturing base, that they have a lot of influence between the West and East. So I would say that Singapore, just like Malaysia, they command English as the main language, Malay, and of course the spoken Chinese. So most of them, they are very good in speaking, but not really in reading or understanding the characters of Chinese words, because they have done away with the Chinese school. But in terms of international branding, I think they have done a good job. And even like always, I quote an example like Hainanese chicken rice, that any Asian cuisine that could be popular, but in a 4 or 5 star hotel, in terms of the food menu, sure you will see Singapore Hainanese chicken rice. So that is something that very special, that Singapore in terms of GDP, they are the highest. They are already a developed country, as well as they have created many uh, uh, significant architecture in their new island after these 20 years of reform of the appearance of the country. So in Singapore, they are quite similar to Malaysia, Chinese, that is they're speaking a few languages. So in Indonesia, something that is interesting to observe. So I have many friends. I have my business there. I have my furniture chain store in Jakarta, Bekasi, and also in Bandung. What I observed since my university time in Australia, that I have friends. We are playing volleyball together by the name of Eddie Wangsa Wijaja. So what I was told, that they are Chinese. They are the ethnic of Chinese in Indonesia. Of course, mainly from southern part of China, like Fujian, from Guangdong, or from Hakka. So the secret of their name, Eddie Wangsa Wijaja, with the name of Wang, is the surname of the Chinese family, because at that time during the regime of Suharto, um, nobody is allowed to speak other languages than Bahasa Indonesia or Indonesian language. Not even you have other vernacular school like Chinese school, or other racial based school. So that's why those days the Chinese still want to keep the identity of their Chinese surname. They are just putting their family names or the surname in between the Indonesian name. So that is something very interesting. And basically, Indonesia, the Chinese there are very low profile, humble, hardworking, and also when these their national policy used to have a pre-Bumi policy, but they have done away with it. So I think they have a fairer competition in terms of the economic and also business world. So people saying that the Chinese there are super rich, but with my observation is not really true. Of course, it's a small plot of a very rich guy in Indonesia, but they are still many ordinary and normal Chinese who are working very hard, very sincere in the community. So this is something that special about Indonesia. So in Thailand, and I have suppliers from the wood-based business that even those days when I'm working for the company, we try to promote Malaysia product to Thailand. But what I discovered that they are rather patriotic because after 5 days of marketing, very extensive marketing that I have seen so many potential customers, so-called, but the representative of a company or the agent of the company that finally he told me, Neil, as long as the product are produced in Thailand, they would not have an intention to import. So it's a surprise to me. I thought it's a free economy, but this is what I salute and respect them, that it's so patriotic to protect their own home industry. So this is indifferent of them, even though they are Chinese, but as a typical Malaysian mindset, always would ask about the background, your family, your dialects, or even your race. But finally, of course, they would have a very comfortable discussion with us about all this. But finally, they will say, anyway, I'm Thai. I am Thai people. I am Thai people. That is the things that they convey, because in a way, everybody there consider themselves as Thai because they are fully assimilated because of the Buddhism there. That even a migrant from China, maybe from other Indochina, that they are really into being the Thai nationality. So that is indifferent about among them. And also we cross over to Vietnam. Vietnam, interesting. Of course, those days when Vietnam has a good relationship with China, then that they are local Vietnamese and also the Chinese generation, that they migrated from China. That even a friend of mine or a customer of mine by the name of Mr. Xu, that the family is Cantonese, that they have worked hard, they have shown their talent and also their contribution to the community. Of course, they have gone through many history challenges that many of them also migrated out from Vietnam when they have a Cold War. After the Cold War, they have some broken relationship with the China, that the Chinese was like sort of under social pressure or suppressed, that the Chinese over there have decided to free the country. They come to Malaysia, by boats to South China Sea. I remember when I was young that I heard a lot of news on the newspaper, as well as they have a refugee camp in Kuala Lumpur near to Sungai Besi. That is my impression. And of course they have thereafter then they were sent to Australia and other Western countries. So the Vietnamese Chinese still remain in Vietnam. Those that maybe couldn't manage to run away from the social unrest. So there was the history about that, but they're still working hard. So Vietnam now is very stable. I've been supplying our products, the wood panel, to the furniture industry there. And then again, they only speak dialect. Not all of them can speak Mandarin like Chinese. And let us fly over to Philippines, Manila, that I've been there many years ago, that I at least traveled there every 3 months. And again, we promote Malaysian product. So I'm encountering with our customer, our friends, not only the local Filipinos and also the Filipino Chinese. Basically, they are also from southern China, from Fujian, So when they speak Fujian, a little bit different from Malaysia, Hokkien or Fujian, to speak in the same dialect. Of course, they are more towards the Taiwan style, that they say "Wun Lao Bei," means my father. They use "Wun," that is not very common spoken in Malaysia. So this is not only things that are a bit different from the rest. But then again, as usual, very hardworking Chinese there. That also they have their own belief or religion, and many of them are Catholics. And one thing that I observe, even you can do a Google search, that the Catholic believer, especially among the Chinese, they can use joystick to do some worship and praying, even in front of the Catholic Church. There is something very unique because always we understand that Christian or Catholic, is very much with their own belief, So joystick is very much of the Chinese culture, inherited from mainland China, even though these days they try to bring back in mainland China, but being the migrants of the Chinese from mainland, they still brought together these joystick culture, uh, worship worship kind of method. So it's a blend of the Catholic and the joystick that I can see something very unique, very indifferent. And okay, let us talk about Cambodia. That lately, last 2 years, that I've been quite frequent myself to Cambodia. Earlier on, because I'm dealing with a different set of industry, especially on a very traditional, conventional. But now I'm going there with a tech company, to do something new in Cambodia. So it's my new observation, and not only the local Chinese, that the local Chinese is not the new investors, the businessmen from the mainland Chinese after One Belt One Road, but with the existing Chinese in Cambodia. That, of course, as usual, they have a Chinatown. Many years ago, I was there. Something surprised that every deals, even big and small, they use US dollars, and also of course maybe in the normal streets that they speak a very little English, and but you really go deep into Chinatown, I can see Chinese character there on the signboard, and also they speak Cantonese, and even some of them they can speak a little Mandarin that I try to converse with them. So that is some little information that I know about Cambodia Chinese, and of course I've been told that many successful business, international business, also run by the Chinese community there. Of course, with the new situation in Cambodia, of course, maybe you may heard about the Sihanouk View. Is a new development of Phnom Penh, that there are many mainland Chinese, they come in to do business, the online business, and all kind of small medium industry. So I think this is the influx of the Chinese there. I think will create another scenario that will bring up the Cambodia economy, and also a lot of interaction of the modern ethnic groups among them in the upcoming country. So I think these are the Southeast Asia Chinese that I can talk about it in this session after the last session. So all these observation, my interaction, and also my encountering all these since 1996, or even when I was studying in Australia since 1991. So I feel glad about that, because I have opportunity on an international platform to meet so many friends, and until today I still continue to make new friends, old friends, that I appreciate everybody's value in different countries by knowing their advantages, our own disadvantages. I think it's interesting to learn. So even though I myself as a Chinese, I think I have much to learn. Sometimes maybe you just learn about just a little bit of surface. If we can know the way they make conversation, communication, the mindset and thinking, this would ease our a lot of collaboration and cooperation with our fellow friends in ASEAN or Southeast Asia, as well as in Far East Asia. So I think it's a value observation that I may share, among the Chinese ourselves, even the non-Chinese all over the place, even those that they want to come to Asia, I think it's worth to understand about how the life of the Chinese here, their mindset, and the way they handle things, even with the single meals or big meals, that always they have arts and also cultural backup. So I think that's it for this session. I hope that you enjoyed it, and welcome to Asia. Then let's make more friends in this world. Thank you. Bye bye.